Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another live. Good to be here. Excited for a live today. It's been a while. It's been like a month and a half maybe since the last live. I try to do them at least monthly. So like, 12 or so in a year. But it's great to be back. It is really good to be back. I'm really excited for this live. So welcome everyone. I see we got Frederick in here. Hey Frederick, what's going on? So while we wait for some people to get in here and we get back into the swing of things, let me cover some of the usual housekeeping things that I usually do at the beginning of the live. Dawn, welcome. Hey Dawn, how's it going? Make sure to spell my name right. R-E-I-D. Just kidding, Dawn. I appreciate it. So, yeah, a couple of things. Questions, if you guys got questions, that's the point of these lives, for me to get on here, jam a little bit, answer some questions. They're always a lot of fun. Gotta check, make sure you can actually hear me. Give me one sec. Yeah, okay, we got audio. Great. Yeah, also, I do have an email list now for these lives, so I do announce on the channel, like on the community tab, when I'm going live. I try to do it the night before. People all keep asking me, oh, when do you do lives? How do we find out? So the best way is to just turn on the notifications for the channel. If you click the little bell and hit all, you should get notified when I go live. If you want sort of a more in advance notice, then keep an eye on the community tab. Or I have started like a little email list, so I usually send out an email to my email list, usually the day before if I'm going to do a live. So if you want to be a part of that, go to my website. There's a contact form on my website to get in touch with me. You don't have to say anything, but if you just send a message, just put email or anything, it'll automatically add you to the list. So yeah. Hey Reed, I saw one effect you purchased at Blackpool was heavy metal. Yes, it's sitting right over there. What routine do you perform with it? Do you want to share some insights from owning it, maybe performing it? Okay, so it's the only thing I bought at Blackpool. Funny enough, I do really like it. I think it's a great sort of everyday carry, a great little, maybe not everyday carry, but it's a great portable, what's the word, penetration type effect, right? So I love that for its portability. I haven't worked it in a whole lot yet. I've performed it in some casual situations and in a couple of like gigging type things, but nothing like too serious. I don't think I have enough or much to say on it as of this point in terms of that side, just because I'd want to keep working it in more. Currently, the routine I've been doing the most is nothing special. It's just a basic routine. I like to try to get it out in play. So and if you don't know what heavy metal is, I have it here just to show those of you who may not know. So just give me 1 second. But yeah, so I've been just kind of doing the regular old penetration without much of a plot, but I like to try to have it kind of already out in the open on the table. So have my AirPods. So it's my AirPods case. Basically, I can take a key, and if you just get it at the right angle. 1 second. Forgot a very important step. Sorry, I was just resetting it on the fly. Okay. Back to the AirPods case. If I get it at just the right angle, I should be able to get it to go right through. You can see that is right through on all sides. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking there's no AirPods in here or something like that, but I can promise you there is. In fact, it's not just AirPods, it is a solid steel AirPods case, and that is real solid steel. So yeah, that's what heavy metal is, if you weren't aware. So that's kind of the performance I've been doing. I mean, obviously a little bit more involved than that. I don't do the switch. I actually, at Blackpool, I told the guy at Zhao's stand, I can't remember, not Zhao himself, but one of the guys who works with him, I forget his name. I should know it. But I told him, I was like, look, you keep so they give you like a sort of a white it's not a real AirPods case, but it's meant to look like one that you can use to switch in and out with the gimmick. I told him to keep it. I was like, yeah, I don't even want it because I knew I would never use it. And so, you know, keep it, give it to someone else who might use it. But yeah, I would just, I leave it out on the table, right? If I can introduce it, or be like, hey, if I see someone with AirPods, hey, do you have AirPods? You have AirPods? Oh, look, I have my AirPods too. Let me show you something with them. Or just kind of say, hey, you know, we all like to listen to music. Does anyone have some AirPods on them? Now, the reason I bought it is for a much more exciting routine that I have in mind, but I don't want to spoil that yet. So I'm working on it. It's still a work in progress, but I've kind of figured out most of it, and I got to kind of script it a little bit. But hopefully you'll see it this year in a Street Magic video once I get it. That would be the goal. I want to get it on camera because it's going to be a really beautiful, unique routine, I think. So that's kind of my thoughts. I think it's a good trick though. But no, I don't switch it in. I just show it, do the penetration, and go from there. How to deal with stress while performing? Well, it depends what you're stressed about. Like that, you got to figure out the target of the stress or the source of the stress. So like, if you are someone who's stressing about the various moves that you have to do, you know, I was watching, actually, I think one of Craig Petty's Q&As today. It was just playing in the background, and he actually said something that I think is very valid when it comes to stress, which is, you know, a lot of people, they, you know, as you progress through magic, you end up, you get very good. You start working at all these, you know, more complicated moves. You get better and better. And then, you know, we start to sometimes disregard some of the easier stuff that, you know, really works, like the real worker material, 2-card Monty, transposition, Chicago opener. And then, you know, you go to perform and you know all these tricks with, you know, might be very incredible, but they have all this complicated sleight of hand, say. And then you're nervous because of all these moves. You have to do, like, you know, 5 classic passes, a couple of shifts, you know, a DPS, all this stuff in one routine. So obviously you're going to be nervous because there's so much pressure on you and you doing the things right. And, you know, the thought was just like, well, I mean, I've always been someone who advocates, like, yes, perform, the simpler the better. You know, I can do very advanced stuff, and I do some pretty advanced routines using the cull. For example, but like, if I have the opportunity, one of the reasons I love the cull so much, if I have the opportunity to do a palm, for example, and they shuffle the deck, and then I can keep their card on top with a palm, or you can basically achieve the same thing. They shuffle the deck, and you can quickly just show them the cards are shuffled and cull the card to the top. Well, it's the same thing, right? In either sense, you can either achieve, like, the cull can replace the palm, basically. And that's what I use it for, because not that palming's no good or it's not, you know, achievable or usable in performance. It absolutely is. But for me, there's an element of me feeling comfortable and ease, I find, with replacing it with a cull. So stuff like that. So the overall sentiment is you should be focusing on doing easier things, because then there's no pressure on yourself. Like, if you're doing a simple double lift, and that's all the move you have to do, like, as long as you can successfully achieve that, you'll pull off the effect. So there's a lot less pressure on you, and you have more opportunity to focus on performing. So that will reduce your stress in terms of that. Like, I would try to do, like, stuff like, I love just doing, like, a simple card force with a prediction, or, like, very simple self-working stuff as openers, because it kind of gives you opportunity to think about performing and focus on that and not stressing so much about yourself. So if you're worried about the moves and, like, getting caught, like, that's the route to go with something that you won't have the moves to mess up. If you're worried about, like, people skills, if you have, like, poor people skills, so you're afraid of approaching, you're afraid of, what am I going to say, what am I going to do, that is sort of, well, it is a magic thing, but it's also a personal thing. Definitely, the more you just got to kind of, I think, throw yourself in the fire and learn to do it. You know, I've talked about approaching groups, so if you have a problem approaching, I've made a video on, like, approaching. But if you have problems just getting up in front of people and performing because you're shy, you know, like, you just kind of have to throw yourself in the fire and start doing it. Start with smaller groups, start with family and friends, people you're more comfortable with, and kind of work your way up. because there's no better way than to just practice it. So hopefully that helps. I don't know if there's other kind of sides of it that you wanted me to address, but I think that's the main thing with stress. Let me answer a few of these quick questions, and then if I don't get back to it, if I forget, remind me to tell you a story from this week that kind of I think could be useful and related. Let me just answer a few of these, and then I'll tell you. Cool, excited to see your performance in the future. Yes, I'm excited to get that on film. And then any new moves you're working on, we'll get to that when we jump down to the card table. Yes, I have a whole list of new ideas I've been thinking about and playing around with, so I like to share those in the live. Quickly, before I jump to that story I wanted to tell, so we talked about the Q&A email list. Guys, if you are interested in private lessons, I always like to mention this at the beginning, in case anyone is interested. I do private lessons, magic, mentalism, anything at all you want help with. I do some consulting for people on their shows, helping them put together sets. I work a lot with people on the call, with people on mentalism, propless mentalism, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in a private lesson, links are all down in the description. Had a couple lessons this morning, a couple lessons yesterday with a few of you guys, so that was awesome. Also, my membership. So I want to touch on this a little bit. Let me just flip to the Safari quickly. So if you don't know, I have a membership on the channel. Basically, I teach, right now I'm breaking down everything that there is to know from Practical Mental Magic by Theodore Animan. I'm not just teaching everything, I'm going through every single effect. So each episode is a brand new effect. We're up to episode 35 so far. We're in the book test section. So there's 1, 2, 3 incredible book tests already uploaded with like 10 more to come. And this is like a really good place to get the fundamentals of mentalism and also just learn, kind of building your knowledge base. The problem with the Animan book, it's one of my favorite books. The problem is it's hard to learn from because it's written a long time ago and it's not always the easiest to understand. And it's not all that practical. It's a little ironic, the name's Practical Mental Magic. It's not all that practical because a lot of the techniques involve old props, old ideas, talking about dead or alive things and all, like stuff that just, it's not going to fly in today's day and age. So my goal with this course was to not only teach everything on video from this book, make it more accessible, but also revamp everything. So there's a bunch of new methods, brand new ideas of my own thinking throughout all these videos. And then, so that's available for the mentalist tier. And then I've also just recently revamped the wizard tier, which is like the top level where you get master classes, lectures, all that kind of stuff. So there's currently, you get access to the full course, but then there's currently the propless mentalism masterclass, which is like an hour and 45 minutes, 6 different effects, 12 different principles, tons, just everything you need to know propless mentalism, my entire system to create your own propless mentalism. And so people have been loving that. I had a lot of people sign up and check this out, and it's gotten great feedback. So if you are interested in the propless mentalism masterclass, there's also the billet work, my whole billet work here, my billet work system, my propless billet work system is also uploaded. So those 2 lectures, and I am working on the next piece of content for the membership. So if you are interested, all those videos are available. You can go to the playlist tab and kind of see all these locked ones are the membership thing. So just wanted to quickly mention that if anyone is interested, because I think it is a really good value in either case. I'm gonna be putting my live lecture up there, so my full live lecture. So you're gonna see me actually lecturing live for 30 or 40 magicians. That's gonna be up on the wizard tier at some point. So if you just want access to the course, the Animan course, that's the mentalist tier. If you want access to all the masterclasses, lectures, as well as the course, that's the wizard tier. So that's all available, link in the description. But yeah, I'm so excited to post that live lecture. I'm just working on editing it now, and then I have a whole bunch of awesome tricks and stuff coming up to that, or going to be on there. So my family is a bunch of hecklers. All our families are a bunch of hecklers, man. It's just the way it goes. When people, see magic all the time, and it's because your family knows you, right? So imagine if I try to tell my family, I think it's a good example of that is with mentalism. If I try to go tell my family, hey guys, I woke up this morning and I can read minds now. they're gonna look at me like, no, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not gonna buy it. Your character. That's kind of what it is. They don't buy your character. But with other people, like, they don't know you at all. So you can get away with creating this character of yourself, right? Yeah, also, if you guys have any clubs or anything like that and interested in having me lecture, I have recently put together a new lecture called Mental Minimalism, and I've lectured it in several places across the states and that. And so if anyone has any club, if they're interested in having me lecture virtually or in person, hit me up, let me know, link in the description. Or not link in the description, sorry. I'm so used to the YouTube talk, but yeah, you can just send me an email. I also like to give an idea of the new videos that are coming up on these lives. I also always like to give you guys who are here listening a little sneak peek as to what the next bunch of videos are that are going to be up on the channel, because I tend to film a bunch in advance and plan out like months in advance. So I can tell you the next 7 weeks of videos. They're already filmed, they're already planned, they're ready to go. So next week, I dropped a street magic video this morning, brand new street magic video. If you haven't seen that, it should be under latest videos right here. So I dropped this street magic video this morning, Sunday, 11 a.m. Dropped 4 hours ago. You know, so that's a fun video. It's from a shoot in Ottawa that I did back near the end of last year. It's a good one. There's some propless mentalism in there that you know, a piece that I really love to perform. Something I've actually taught on the channel. So I think you guys will quite like that. Checking that out, because you can learn it too if you like it, if you want to perform it. Then next week I have a performance breakdown. So that's where I will be reacting and breaking down one of my older street magic videos. Then we'll be doing a tutorial on the dribble pass, something that I have a lot of thoughts on, but I actually have never talked about on the channel, so I'm excited for that. Mentalism 101 episode 15 is coming after that, and I can't remember what that's even about. Let me check my notes. Building a connection. So that episode's going to be all about building a connection, how to build a connection with your audience, why it's important as a mentalist, and that sort of thing. So Mentalism 101, that's my series about learning mentalism from the ground up. Then after that, I have a special video. I am not going to spoil that yet, so surprise, surprise, in a couple of weeks, if everything goes according to plan. Should be a special video. Then I'll be teaching Marlowe's Miracle Aces. I got some nice touches, nice handling on that. That's a really good effect. After that, in a couple more weeks from now, we have another performance breakdown, and it'll be part 2 of the one before that, and then finally another street magic video. So that is the schedule. If you guys were interested in what's coming up on the channel, a lot of great videos, great stuff coming up. So I want to tell you guys that story. In that video, you forced a month. How did you do it? I did not force a month. I divined a month. So he was thinking of a month, and I guessed it. And that is some unreleased something that I am not going to talk about yet. sorry to gatekeep, but it'll be available eventually. It'll be available eventually. I hate not being able to share or not being able to like point you where you can learn something or where I'm going to teach something, but this is special, so I gotta hold on to it for a little bit. Okay, so something interesting that happened recently. We're talking about stress in performance and all that. You know, I don't really get stressed when I perform, but I think this story is an interesting thing to consider, thing to think about. And there were a couple of lessons that I actually learned that I think were valuable from it. So basically, it was more of a casual performance. I was at kind of a work thing this past week, and I had a coworker who, was with their partner or whatever, and I had never met this person, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I have, she's here with me. Do you have your cards on you?" And I was like, "No, but I don't need cards to perform." So, he's like, "Okay, can you show us or show her something?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, So the thing is, normally I would have a deck of cards on me, a Sharpie, and billets. But I had, like, that was in my bag because it's always on me, but my bag I left at the office. And so we went out for this social thing. X Legend, Ayo sup, what's up, Legend? X Legend. So yeah, I left my bag at the office and I just walked over to this social thing. So all of a sudden I've agreed to perform. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't need cards. And then I start thinking, I'm like, well, what do I have on me, right? And I'm like, okay, I got my phone in one pocket, and the only other thing I had on me was my wallet. And I have the Orphic wallet, and I keep some billets in there. So I'm like, perfect. Phone and billets, I can do hours of material with that, you know? And so I'm confident, I'm feeling good. I tell her, I look at her, I say, you know what, just think of a name for me. I want you to think of a name of someone meaningful to you, someone who is, there's no way that I could know, and someone that's special, okay? I asked her to think of a name. I had no idea what I was going to do, right? And I do like to challenge myself in this way, especially with mentalism. It keeps things fun, keeps things exciting. But also, like, when you're in these impromptu situations, especially when the stakes aren't that high, like being able to work your way out of these things, it's just so much fun, kind of jazzing a little bit. So I had her think of a name. I had no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to, figure out said name and guess it. So I start to walk her through my process. Now the process is super important, and I know I don't need to stress. And this is what's so important about my philosophy when it comes to mentalism. And if you've seen any of my Mentalism 101 videos, you'll know like how important, if not the most important thing, is process, because I can now buy so much time to figure out what I want to do. So process is stuff like when I tell her, long time no, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I'll read that after, because if I keep reading sometimes I will have the chat open here, and when someone sends a comment, I keep reading it. Anyway, so basically, the idea is, I'm with the process, right? Process is things like, I tell her, okay, so you have this name in mind. Okay, imagine this person next to you, right? Imagine what they look like. I want you to see them here next to me. So it's the things that I'm doing, or telling her, having her doing, that she doesn't necessarily know, or she believes is the method. It's what I am having her believe it's the method. It's these visual exercises, these, look into my eyes, this, scream it in your mind, the name you're thinking of, whatever it is. So I'm telling her, imagine this, imagine shaking this person's hand. How would you greet them? Would you hug them? Would you shake their hand? Think about that. Think about the last time you saw them. Think about your favorite memory, all these things. But obviously, I said those in like 10, 15 seconds. I really stretched each of these out. Gave her a chance to do it. And I'm really taking my time with this. But while I'm doing this, I'm starting to process in my head, okay, what am I going to do as a real method? But there was no rush, right? I think a lot of mentalists, they want to rush. They're afraid if they don't know what to do. But you have all that time to buy time, right? Just because no one can tell you how to read minds. So she can't say, hurry up, like, what's taken so long? Like, or just guess it already. If you do a good job of convincing her of your process, or them of your process, you're fine, right? So then, oh man, so then basically I started to think, and obviously I had those billets on me, and I love billets. I'm a billet worker at first and foremost, so I think, okay, let's just do some billet work. So I reach in, I grab out my Orphic wallet, and just as I'm about to pull it out, I'm like, I don't have my keys on me, and my keys are where I always have my little mini Sharpie. I look around the restaurant, and I'm like, it's not going to be easy for me to get a pen. I'm going to have to go up to a waitress and ask, I'm like, this is not going to happen. So I'm like, okay, scrap the billets. Plan B. So now I'm like, okay, so I'm basically left with my phone, because I can't really do anything with the Orphic wallet that's going to help me in this situation without a pen. So then I'm like, okay. I just continue through my process. It's probably been 2 or 3 minutes now, and nothing has happened. Like, I've literally just had her think of a name, and I'm having her do different exercises in visualization. And I'm sitting there for seconds at a time, silent, pretending to study her, pretending to think. But she's engaged the whole time. Everyone is engaged because they're excited to see what's going to happen, right? It's an intriguing thing. I've had someone think of a name. And it's not like my process here is boring. It really feels like genuine, important things, right? So then I start to feel like, okay, maybe it's getting a little long-winded. I need to buy a little bit more time. So I'm like, let me just quickly guess her star sign. I'll just do a propless star sign. You know, she was a woman, and I knew it would probably play pretty well. And I can also work it into the performance of like, man, yeah, I'm not really getting anywhere with you. Hold on, do you know your star sign? Don't say it. And then I went through and I said, revealed her star sign. She freaked out. It had a really good reaction. And then I said, so that was just propless, right? And then I said, okay, that explains it, because you're Scorpio or whatever she was. Now, I think I have a better sense, and I know why it wasn't working before. So I've kind of now justified why we haven't really gotten anywhere yet. And I've also bought myself more time by getting a hit on something. So then I start thinking, okay, what can I do now? So I thought of this idea, and this is stupid, don't do this, but I do this sometimes. Like, I'll see something or I'll learn something. So I got this new effect that I want to talk about. You know, I don't buy a lot of stuff, but this is brilliant. If you're a mentalist, this is brilliant. I think it's very under the radar, but I want to talk about it because it's just that good. Well, I don't want to talk about it because I want to gatekeep it, but it's available. It's not mine, but it's really, really good. I don't have any affiliation with it or anything like that. But I'll talk about it a little bit later. And so I'm like, let me do that. The thing is, I just watched the tutorial probably like 2-3 weeks ago. I watched like half of it. I got the concept. I'm like, this is brilliant. I want to work on it. And I just haven't had the chance to come back to it. But I'm like, this will be perfect. But I can't really remember what I'm supposed to do, like the methodology. So I grab my phone and I'm like, I think let's try this. But what I was actually doing was testing out the method to see if I could remember it, right? I'm playing around with it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I got it. So I'm like, okay, how about you do this? Take out your phone for me, and now I'm going to use just a simple, billet justification or any kind of justification I would use to have them write it down. So I said, I think you're a bit more visual, aren't you? Okay, so this time I'll just write it down for me, take a look at it, stare at it. And there were some other people, so I said, actually just show everyone else. I want other people to be able to experience this at all. So she wrote it down in her notes app on her phone. She showed everyone. And then I had her erase it, delete the note, all that stuff, so it's completely gone. And then I went to execute the method, and it didn't work. Didn't work. Obviously I'm not practiced. I did something wrong, and so then I'm like, okay, well, plan C now. So I'm really starting to okay, I don't have my fallback of billets. This didn't work. So at this point, I'm starting to think, well, maybe I just abandon the name. I'll go into Wikitest or some app that I have. And I'm like, well, maybe I could use Wikitest to get the peak, blah, blah, blah. And then I just thought of an old method, this peaking method using the Notes app. It looks very similar to the method I already attempted. It's not as clean. The other method's better, but I used to do, before I recently discovered this one method, I used to use this method all the time. So I'm very comfortable with this. I'm like, okay, let's just do that. Hopefully you can see the problem we have now. She already wrote it down in her notes, right? So now I'm like, okay, man, I need another justification. I have to have her write it down again. And so this is like the first lesson. I know this has been a long story. The first lesson is to be adaptable and not rush. So the first part of this was about not rushing, and you have all this opportunity to take time, especially with mentalism. If you can keep people intrigued in what you're doing, if you use your process properly, and you have the proper justification as why it is taking time to get there, because no one can tell you how to read minds, and everyone's different. So all I said was, and this is a really great sort of line here, it's, hey, look, I haven't been able to crack through. Nothing's really worked yet. So we're going to have to just keep trying different things. Like, we just met, so I really don't know anything about you. If it was one of my coworkers here, maybe it would work a little bit better, but with you, like, I don't know how you think at all. So I'm just trying to figure out how you think. And she fully understands the reality of that. So now she gets it. And she's like, I understand why this is taking like 5 minutes or so and nothing's happened so far, right? So then I need a justification to have her write it down again so I can use the other method. So then I said something like, oh, did you actually study it when you wrote it down a second ago? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, that was the whole reason I had you do it. I wanted you to really visualize it. So then she goes, I have her write it again, she visualizes it, deletes the note, and then I execute the method, and I finally get the information that I need. And at this point, because I realize I've already went through so many different exercises to try to get inside her head that haven't worked, why would I now, when I've actually got it to work, why would I say, oh yes, I've gotten through now? Because then it's emphasizing that moment, which is the dirty moment, as being important. And this was a really interesting or I think kind of groundbreaking observation, because I've always looked at it in kind of a different way, which I'll explain at the end. But essentially now I told her, I'm like, put your phone away. I still didn't work. That didn't work either. And I'm just sitting there, and I did like an actual look of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Honestly, I think you might just be too mentally strong for me. I was like, okay, there's one last thing. I don't do this with many people. And now what I did was literally just more process, but like very clean process, meaning like if I just did this process and then revealed, or like if I just walked up to someone, said, think of a name, and then I did this process, which I'll describe in a minute, and then I revealed the name, it's the cleanest piece of mind reading you ever saw. But in her head, I told her this is the last ditch effort for me to try to get inside her head. And all it was just imagine this person coming up to you, and what would they say to you? And I had her visualize that, and I said, oh yes, I'm finally starting to see it. And then I had her focus on the first letter, I revealed it, got the hit, good little reaction, and then continued down that little visualization, this, and I finally revealed the name. And it got incredible reaction even after all that. Now, the reason I mention all of this is because there's two really important lessons. If you think about the context there, she or the whole group, right? If I were to let me pull back a little bit. When I started doing this extra process, what I'm doing is, one, I'm putting in time misdirection and pulling away from the actual method, but I've also now, which is one of the main points, said that the method that I used, the real method, it didn't work. And the fake method, which is ultra clean, did work, right? It's just a visualization. Imagine this person. She didn't give me any information. All she did was imagine the person in front of her. So then I started to think, it made me think after, like, my philosophy with billets, if you've been to any of my lectures, if you're a Wizard member and you've seen the propless billet work lecture, one of the main philosophies is just making the billets feel not important. And I think that's a great philosophy, and I cover a lot of ways to do that, a lot of psychology and important things to keep in mind. Don't bring them out until you need them. Make sure everything's justified. All these things. I've talked about this, in different places in my Mentalism 101 series too. But it kind of made me think about the opposite side. What if you do emphasize the billets, but you emphasize them as something that isn't working, right? So now imagine I have the billets involved from the beginning, right? Or they're out on the table. So now there's a sense of importance to them, right? It's like if I say, hey, I'm going to show you a trick, well, it's a card trick because there's cards in my hand. That's why my philosophy's always been, if you're going to do mind reading, don't start the trick like this. Start it like this with the billets away, because the second you have it out, it's assigning importance. Well, imagine we flip that for a second. We do have them out. You have them not even think of a name. You just say write down. Sorry, no, that wouldn't work. Okay, so you do have them think of a name. Then as we're working through the process, and maybe you still wouldn't want to have the billets out. Let me think about that. Yeah, okay, let's take a step back. Let's say the billets are away. But you have them think of a name. And then you say, okay, one of the ways that I can get into people's heads and try to get in sync is if you write it down and you have that sort of connection with it. So you justify the billet, but you're actually emphasizing the billet. You told them write it down. Like, I wouldn't suggest normally you say write it down. You just say, I want you to visualize it. So here, just put it here so you can visualize it. Like, it's a quick. But this time you have them write it down and you say, okay, visualize it on this piece of paper, focus on it. You're emphasizing this moment. Then you do what you do, you get your peak from whatever billet, peak, switch, whatever you want to use. And you say, okay, this, that, you make that feel like that was the plan all along. I was going to have you write it down. So maybe you do have these out from the very beginning. I have to think about all the sequencing and how you might routine this idea. But the point being, the billets are now important. The audience is going to think that that's part of the trick in a way. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously. And I don't fully know where the balance of this is yet, because this happened 2 days ago. This has just been what I've been thinking about. But now the billets feel so important, and you go to try to read their mind, and you actually get some misses. So let's say they wrote the name, David down, and I say focus on the first letter. It's an F, and they say no, and you're like, huh. Honestly, I don't think this worked with you. I don't think you're someone who can visualize this name in the way that I need you to. Are you good with words? Like, were you someone who was good with English, or were you more of a math person? And then whatever they said, you could kind of go off that. And I'm just making up something, but now you see how I'm taking the importance off the billets, and I'm really making it seem like the billets, it didn't work, right? So it's like, instead of just not emphasizing them and make them try to forget about the billets, you emphasize them, but you make it very clear that what you were going for didn't work, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't know, it didn't work. We're gonna have to try something different with you, but I don't know what. Or you even make it seem like it's not gonna work, and you come back to it later, right? Like you do something else, reveal their star sign, do something else, and then you say, I had one last idea. I don't know if it's going to work. And then you just do something super clean now. You just say, okay, visualize that person here. Imagine if they came up to you and you shook your hand, how would that feel? What would you say to them? Okay, great. It's starting to come through now. I'm actually seeing it. And then you go through and you do the reveal. That's kind of what I did in that performance. I emphasized the thing that was the real method, and I de-emphasized, or I emphasized that it didn't work. And it was so much more believable because of how much time I had taken with things genuinely not working, that it definitely started to feel in her head, I'm sure, that he's never going to get this. And it kind of played in my favor. Anyway, long-winded story, but that was super important. I think it's a unique concept I'm going to start to think about and develop a theory on it, because I think there's something really good there. And then also, the idea that you don't have to rush, and if you can just capture people's attention in what you're saying and through the process, and if they're genuinely intrigued, which should be pretty easy if you're telling them you're going to read their mind. It's not like, you have to do anything too crazy. If you tell someone they're going to read their mind, I think they're okay to listen to you for 5 minutes or so if you're just talking, right? Like, they're probably intrigued. So anyway, long story. Hopefully that was interesting to some of you, but it really made me evaluate a couple of things. Long time no see. You've grown a beard. Almost 2 years since I touched a deck or watched some stuff. I've had this beard since like 2018. So before the channel existed. I had a very maybe patchier or less pronounced beard than I do now. But I started growing this in like 2018. Yeah, when I was like 18 or 19 or something. Did you get my mail that I sent you? I think I did. So, yeah, I think I did. I think you asked me something that I couldn't really answer. Let me see if I can just find it quick. But I'll answer it here. It'll be easier. Do you know any magic tricks with a calculator that is impromptu? That's tough. Toxic used to work. It doesn't really work on the iPhone calculator. Or maybe you don't mean phone calculator. If you mean just a regular scientific calculator, you might still be able to do the toxic force. So I would give that a try. And then different techniques for peaking things on a calculator work pretty well. What's your favorite false cut / shuffle? Let me answer that when we jump down to the card table. I think we're just about ready to do that. I think we can do that soon. I'm pretty much out of talking. Actually, I was thinking, I had this new camera set up. Let's see. It's not. Oh, we don't want that. We want this. There we go. Where as I'm talking to you guys, you can see what I'm fiddling with. I don't know if people want to see this, but I'll try it, because I'm always constantly fiddling as I'm doing these lives, generally just shuffling back and forth. Anyway, what I wanted to ask, a couple of things, if there's some people in here. So, okay, I wanted to give an update on my 10K subs contest. So, I recently hit 10,000 subs, so thank you so much, each and every one of you. We're at 10.5K now. I think I hit it a month or so ago. Toxic, there is apps for it now, yes, but you can do it on a regular calculator, not currently on the new iPhone calculator, so I would recommend iThump Toxic Plus as the app. So, what was I saying? 10K. So I'm going to do some kind of competition. So I asked this in the last live, but I'd like some more opinions because I haven't fully decided. I'm either going to do a talent show type thing where I have subscribers so you guys can enter. You send a video of you performing magic, and then I pick my maybe 10 favorites and I put them on the channel basically for people to vote on, and the winner will get some prize of some sort, right? So that's option one. Option two is more of like a fool us style thing where I have people submit tricks that are meant to fool me, and then I would vote on which one was the most fooling. Personally, I'm kind of leaning towards just a general talent show where people can vote rather than me being the sole decider of the foolingness. And it's not all about fooling, like, so I would appreciate something that's nice artistically. So I'd just like to hear some thoughts, what you guys think would be a good, because I want to do a little competition sort of thing for my 10K giveaway celebration thing. I don't just like to give stuff away, you know, like for 1,000 subs, I did one of my behind the screens trick where I had people guess the method, and the closest guess did that. So let me know what your thoughts are. Life Equation by Peter Turner is great. Yes, the 1089 force is also good for calculators and stuff. So all those options are great. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, I did mention that whole method that I was talking about from that I recently picked up that I was trying to use at that gig or whatever. So it is called Iris, IRIS, from the Daily Magician. I think that's the website that's put it out. But I think the creator is actually, I believe it's Stephen Bridges, the gambling guy now. I mean, I know Stephen's a great magician, but you know, these days he's card counter Steve. Let me see if I can find the ad. See what it's going for. Iris, the Daily Magician. So I got it on pre-order, so I don't know. Honestly, what attracted me to it is I really carefully read the ad copy. Oh, it's still cheap. Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's 40 pounds. Like, so I don't know, Canadian dollars, that's probably 80-ish. So American dollars, it's probably 50 or 60 American dollars. Isn't that IRS, not Iris? This is our government tax return software. Oh, I guess that's that's your collection agency in the States, right? The IRS. So I guess maybe you have a tax return software that's called International Revenue something software. That's my guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm Canadian, so we don't have that. But yeah. Anyway, so Iris. So this is it. Iris. It's well worth it. So what it is, and again, I have no affiliation to this. I saw it on Antonio Bourgeois' story on Instagram. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So I flipped through the ad copy, and I was like, this looks incredible. Like, no apps, no shortcuts, but it works on a spectator's phone in almost any app. I'm like, that's impossible, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it can't be possible, right? So then I started I started thinking, like, it literally doesn't make any sense. And I just couldn't be. Like, no shortcuts, no apps, you don't have to install anything. It says no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth required, 100% examinable on the spectator's phone, and it works in like all these different apps, like pretty much any app. And I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense. So what it is, without like exposing it, it's essentially, think of it like a glitch. It's like a glitch. So it only works on iPhone, but it's your spectator's phone. So you don't need an iPhone. They just need to have an iPhone. And apparently it does work on certain Android devices, but it works on all iPhones and some Android. So I would just stick to doing it on iPhone so you're sure. So as long as your spectator has an iPhone, you're good to go, right? Which someone always will. And you don't have to install anything. It's literally like basically taking advantage of, it's not even a glitch. It's just a software thing. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's so good. It basically allows you to get like the most covert peek ever. And you can do it in, you can peek a song in Spotify or their music app, any photo from their camera roll, any word they write down in their notes, anything they like. It's, yeah, super, super versatile. One of the most versatile things. Great price. You could do Google, what do they say, calculator, Google Maps, messages, internet, literally anything. Like imagine just being able to almost go back in time and peek anything that they were looking at instantly on their phone without, almost like having a screenshot to that thing without actually taking a screenshot. They don't have to do anything. There's nothing sneaky. Like it's genuinely just, it's as good as the ad copy says. Like I can't really lie. And I'm someone who like never buys anything. I just was like so intrigued by this, and like I did my due diligence reading through all the ad copy, and like I always think about like what the method could be, and I had no clue. And I was genuinely impressed and shocked, which is like hard to do. And I'm like, I sat down like, damn, this is really good. So this is gonna be something I'm gonna be using all the time. It's incredible. So I would highly recommend it. Again, not affiliated or anything. I just picked it up and think it's really, really good. Hey Reed, quick question about doing gigs. How would you go about start to do gigs if your job is busy and needs you a lot? Okay. So you're busy and you want to do gigs. So obviously the weekends, that's the place to start. The thing is with gigs is like a lot of gigs, you say you want to do corporate, they're all going to be during the day, during your work day anyway. So if you're trying to do corporate gigs or even some private parties, they're going to be during the day, during the week. Particularly corporate or weddings and that sort of thing. So you want to focus on, I think, restaurants. That's going to be your place to focus. And so that'll give you the opportunity to do things in the evening. Look for some kind of restaurant residency, or, you know, walk into some restaurants. Start to, you know, gain that experience at restaurants or on the weekends doing private gigs or whatever you can, right? I think that's how you would do gigs if your job is busy, right? I think that would hopefully be helpful. Do you think any would happen at 5 or 6? I mean, maybe, but it depends what time you have to get off work, right? You think you have to go get ready. You probably want to take a shower. You have to drive there. You got to get your stuff ready. Like, yeah, in the evenings you could, but it depends how early you can get off work and that sort of thing. Like, I think restaurants are the way to go. They're just better. It's in the evening, that sort of thing. Can you make a tutorial for effect where a spectator takes a small item like a coin in his left hand and you can say you have the coin in the left hand? Oh, so which hand routine? I don't really do many which hands. I think the best one is Tequila Hustler. It's a propless version. So check out Tequila Hustler. I probably won't do any because I don't think I've created any. You know, I don't have any interest in creating a which hand really. There's a really good free one that uses AirPods. It's a free app and it's called Echolocation. So check out Echolocation if you're interested in a which hand. Hopefully that helped, Quentin, man. I hope that kind of answered what you were looking for. Not sure if it did, but hopefully. Do you ever plan to, or have you ever thought about doing anything other than magic on this channel? For instance, like reacting or anything else? I mean, I've done some reactions to various like magic related things. Like I reacted to the Aiden Ross 21 Savage thing where 21 was accused of like cheating at cards on his live stream and cheated him out of a bunch of money. Like I did a reaction summary video of that, trying to analyze if he actually did that, what he claimed. So like if I go to Safari, hold on. If you go to my playlists, there is a reaction reviews playlist here. We don't want to be
Canada's #1 business.
So I did like my Blackpool video, but then I did this, here's the 21 Savage one. Then I also did the Kai Cenat Max Major situation. So I've kind of like done some reaction type stuff, but no, I mean, that's not really the focus of the channel, right? Like at the end of the day, I'm here to make quality magic content, help people out. That's what interests me. That's what I love to do. And it also, you know, it's just enjoyable. You know what I mean? Making content other than magic. I mean, you know, it's like what do you make content about, right? That's the biggest thing. You know, I think you want to pick, if you're doing content, you want to pick something you are interested in and something that you're knowledgeable about and something that you can do differently or better than other people. So that's, you know, magic. I was very knowledgeable, I was very good, and I thought I can bring a different thing to people. I need to get J30 ACAN. Oh, Quentin, you do, man. Best ACAN out there. It's so good. Available on my website. No, J30 ACAN's incredible. Like, if you have any questions, I can answer them here. If you have any questions about it, if there's anything that was, you know, keeping you from it. But yeah, oh, such a good, man. It's just, it's one of those things like we were talking about at the beginning of the live. There's no moves. There's nothing to do. So you just sit back, you perform, right? You just go there and you perform. You perform it. You can bring the house down with this. The amount of possibilities and customizations are endless. Get creative with it. It's fully in your control, 100% surefire. It's just so good. Do you think J30 ACAN is a good opener? I think it's a closer. I always close with it. Like I'll even close my stage shows with it sometimes, like when it fits, depending on the type of set I'm doing. Like it's a closer. It's too strong. Like I think if you open with it, like what are you gonna do after? 2-card Monty? You're gonna do the transposition? You're gonna do Chicago opener? And you can't. I don't think you could, if I'm being quite honest. So I think it's a closer. I mean, you could open with it. It takes a little bit more time to get there, but could you do how Aussie does it with the box routine, then just takes the cards out and have them count down? They won't expect the ending. Yeah, that's exactly what you do. The cards are in the box. You hand it to the spectator from the beginning. They create a card and they create a number together. And then they just take the cards out of the box themselves and they deal it themselves. So it's same thing. Aussies, though, you have to do a shift yourself as you're taking it out of the box, right? What's the thing you hate the most while performing? Like dropping cards, etc. Yeah, dropping cards is annoying because it's always like awkward to try to pick it up, right? Especially if you drop a bunch. What else do I hate? I think like a lot of hecklers just don't know any better, or they don't understand, sort of thing. That like what they're doing is like heckling and like we don't appreciate it that much. Hold on. Okay. But the thing you have to understand is like most of them, it's easy to win them over and they're not that big of a deal and they're, you know, innocent. But the people who are like genuinely, I think what they are is they're not interested in seeing your magic, but because everyone else is, they sit there and then they think, well, this is stupid, so let me try to ruin it, right? And it's not like I can deal with those people, no problem, but I these days I just walk away. I don't care, you know, what the environment is, if I'm being paid. There's hundreds of other people at this gig I can go perform to. I don't need to waste my time performing for you and you're gonna grab the card and do this and tear it out of my hand and blah blah blah. Like, you know, that annoys me. Those people annoy me because it's just like, I mean, I get it. They don't have they don't understand what it's like being a performer. They probably have a miserable, boring life. But you know, just like some like basic human respect would be nice. And if you're not going to show it to me, then I don't have anything to say to you, right? I need to learn more about what tricks are openers and which are closers before I go do gigs. Yeah, so openers, you want to think about things like Oh God, I put that down again. You got to think about things like something that's quick, snappy, grabs attention, and establishes your credibility. So things like a transposition, where the two cards change places. So I've taught my handling of that on the channel. Something like two-card Monty, which I've taught on the channel. Something like Chicago Opener, which I've taught on the channel. Something that doesn't take too long to get to in general, can establish you as a credible performer and get them on your side, kind of win them over. The other thing for closers now would be, I would say your hardest hitting piece. You can take a little bit more time with it, and then something that has like an unexpected sort of kicker ending, right? Openers are basically routines you never mess up. Yeah, that's another good point for an opener. But isn't there an aspect of puzzle to magic? So some of them are not hecklers, they're more intrigued. Exactly, that's what I mean. Like a lot of people, it's not their fault. And I made a whole video on like us as magicians need to stop calling everyone hecklers, right? Like most people are not hecklers. They just don't know any better, or they're trying to figure it out, which is fine. You just, let them in a little bit, and you can still fool them in sort of the same way. Okay, let's actually jump down to the card table now. I know there's a couple things that I needed to answer. So, let me find what that question was. Triumph. I do open with Triumph. I don't think it's a good opener for a lot of people, though. But it's a good opener for me. What was the question that was at the card table? Favorite cut and false shuffle, and I think there was something else. Any new moves you're working on? Okay, let me answer those. So, my favorite false shuffle. So, in the hands, it is the truffle shuffle. So that right there was a completely false shuffle. So if I go through the cards really quickly, and just to give you, I just want to prove to you that I'm not lying. I mean, I'm sure you guys believe me, but I don't know. Is having my face in this shot good, or should I just take this camera out when we're at the card table? I don't know. I kind of like being able to talk to you guys still. So now I've separated the cards almost into red and black. Just missed a few. Okay, so should I say pink and blue? I don't know. I just like to use like this is a random deck that I got. Anyway, so if I do a shuffle now, it should be pink and blue mixing together, right? But as you can see, unshuffled. So that's my favorite in the hands. At the table would be the push through false shuffle. Yeah, that was, hold on, I pulled the wrong way. Give me 1 second. That was, I knew that was wrong from the moment I began. Yeah, okay, so starting here, pull. There we go. I don't do a ton of table work these days, but this would be my favorite false shuffle, just as a shuffle itself. Also doing like sequences. I do love table work sequences. So doing like a push. Oops. See, I got that wrong. Hold on. Gotta be right. I haven't done table work in a while. Right side on the top. There we go. That should be correct. Okay. Boom, boom, and then I'll do something like this, right? Like I really like sequences where I can do all kinds of different false shuffles and different things, false cuts, and even one that I love would be like a strip out, right? But then I go into a false strip like that, and there we go, all separated. The cut point, so the cards are just cut in that sequence. So if you just cut those back to the top here, but you're in the exact same order, just with the cut. So those are my favorite false shuffles, I would say. Now we'll mix these up a bit. Can you give tips for tools like the Confabulation Magic app? I don't know what the Confabulation Magic app is, but I do like confabulation routines. I did one recently at the convention I was performing at. I think it went over well. Do you think you could teach the move where in the ACR the selection is shown up on their packet of cards after you show it's not on the part of the pack you're holding? Tell me if you mean it's this. So you show, so I think it's like this. You show the card, you push it into here, and then boom, it doesn't come to the top, it's over here. Is that what you're getting at? Let me know. So moves I've been working on, a couple of things. So, ooh, this has been really cool. Let me turn this up. I'm gonna switch decks because I need to. Okay, so this. See if I can nail it for you on the live. Not like that. Let's try that again. Okay. No. This is camera angle. 1 sec. Okay. There we go. That's been like my obsession lately, to practice. I'm just watching it back on the stream because the stream's behind me a little bit. Yeah, forget those first two. I wish I would have got it on the first one. Ooh, okay, yeah, those look really good. Those look really good. Ooh, those last two. Okay, those last two look really good. The first one, I gave it away. I wish I wouldn't have given. I mean, I think everyone knows what's going on, even if I didn't screw it on the first one. But, or you as a magician, you'll know what the change is. But you know, but the touches I've added to it. It's a really cool idea. Who made your site? That shit's fiend. Thank you, man. I made it all myself. I learned, I didn't know anything about doing web design, but I learned and built it myself, run it myself. That's the best way, man, because then you can make all your changes on your own. I'm obviously got to be a bit creative. You know, you got to have some design ideas, but it's really not that hard. I use Wix. You know, it's not that bad. A lot of it's kind of done for you, and you're just kind of modularly putting things together. But you got to know what you want, and it does take a lot of work, you know. I pretty much do everything myself. Like, if there's anything in life at all, I will just learn how to do it myself. Like, even sometimes I'm like, do I need, you know, I could just be my own dentist. I'm like, yeah, like, genuinely, sometimes these ideas cross my head. I haven't gotten that extreme yet, but I'm very much a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I'll learn how to do my own website. I learned how to do all my own editing, filming, lighting, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? How long does it take to learn? Depends how much time you want to put in. I probably built that website over the course of a month but I mean, I'm quite good at learning and picking things up really fast. I'm good with technology, so that also depends on it. But I personally would say it took me a month just to get like the first version. Obviously, I've tweaked it a bunch over the years and added more things to it. I did a revamp of it maybe 6 months ago. That was like a month or two process, but for the most part, a lot of the web pages that you see are still like those original web pages that I created. I just added more features and different things like that, right? Everyone knows it. It makes it that much better. Yeah, I know. It's such a cool handling and thing to do with the snap change. It's so cool. And I finally cracked. I've been trying to do that for years, actually, and I finally cracked the code on how to do it. Like, they're holding the packet, then you go, oh, it went to the top of the deck. You say, oh, it's the half I'm holding, you're holding the top half. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I think the way people normally do it is they'll get a break. So do some false deals. Okay, yes, we'll do that in a minute. So you get a break under a card, then you cut, and their card would be on top. So you turn their card over. So let's say it's their card's a 5 of spades. Then as I turn over, I'm going to deposit that card that I had the break on top, right? So this is kind of a classic move or whatever. I don't even know the name of this move, to be honest. So you turn it over and then you push it forward. And as you push it forward, you're going to deposit another card on top of it. Okay, so one more time. Their card, 5 of spades, is on top. You get a break above the bottom card. God, there we go. Swing cut, turn it over again and push it forward. And then I'm going to drop that card. But as I drop it, I turn the hand over so they don't actually see that I've dropped the card on it. then I say, look, you can see it one last time, turn over and push it out. And in that one move, you've actually now switched it for the card that you dropped on top of it, because there are cards here. So as you push it forward, you drop the card, you show it, but I'm really in this position, right? I'm here, and then I push it in as I turn over and push this out into this packet, okay? Now, what you would do is you would set this down and you say, you know, here we're gonna use this just so there's even less cards so you can see, right? Then you have them hold their hand out. You know, you can have them push it in, and then you say, snap your fingers, turn over the top card. They will, nothing there. You say, oh, because that's not the top of the deck, it's over here, blah, blah, blah. So that's usually how I've seen it done. Confabulation Magic App is, in my opinion, the best prediction tool. You predict anything from playing cards to birthdays. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different ways to do confabulation routines, right? Like, I do a ton of different ideas for confab routines, and so I've heard of that app. I just never checked it out. I think you send the spectator prediction in the email. Yeah, I think someone used that on America's Got Talent. I remember seeing it a while back. Can I send the app link in the chat? I suppose you could. Ideas about lateral palm with the middle finger. So we're talking this, I suppose. Yes, I'll show you. I used to do, I learned this from one of Chris' videos. That's simple, but it's not an easy card control. Not easy. I think it's pretty easy, in my opinion. Like it's fairly beginner. Anyway, some false deals. I'm gonna cheat and use the borderless deck. Or do you want to see me with the bordered deck? I don't mind. I'll do either. But borderless deck. I always would say, if you're doing false deals, practice with a bordered deck, because it'll give you real feedback. Anyone can do, you know, a convincing second deal with cards without a border, right? Like, it's very easy, because it's, I mean, it's not easy mechanically, but it's it's easy to cover. So there's the seconds. Let me just pick these up because I just chucked them all over the laptop. And so that's a second deal. So what else? Let's do some bottom dealing maybe. I hate decks with custom faces because I can never find the cards that I need and they don't stand out. Ace of clubs, where are you? There. Okay, no, that's ace of spades. See, I can't even tell what the cards are. Okay, 4 aces on the bottom. Let's just do 1, 2, 3. Oh god, this deck's slippery. Let's do that again. Hold on. I gotta think about how it's not all gonna be on camera. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Four aces. There you go, my friend. What exercise I like to practice with is fair deal, second deal, bottom deal, fair deal, second deal, bottom deal, fair deal, second deal, bottom deal, fair deal, second deal, bottom deal. So I'm doing fair, I'm doing second, and then I'm doing bottom. And if you can do that, like I'm doing it here, then if you check on the camera, like I'm looking at myself to try to see if I see discrepancies. And they really look all the same to me, for the most part. There might be a tiny little finger on the other one. Okay, I do strike seconds. I do strike second deals, so boom, strike it. That's basically what's happening. Yeah, I just like having a deck of cards in the live stream, right? So that's the same thing, second deal. Right? So with the, oh god, got stuck there, hold on. Oh, this deck is a bit old, so it's a bit sticky, but same concept. I'll probably be more comfortable bottom dealing with this deck though. I think a slippery deck is great for second deals, but a sticky, more broken in deck is good for bottom. Sorry, I don't know if I said that. Let me say that again. A slippery deck is good for second deals. A more broken in deck is better for bottom deals. Because with the second deal, it just kind of slips and it's really nice. So like, Oh, gotta get in better position. There we go. I say that as I miss the bottom deals. Right. Anyway, if you want to learn some bottom dealing or second dealing from me, I have a couple of videos on both, but if you need some one-on-one help, private lessons, linked in the description. I teach a lot of people at bottom deal and second deal. It's one of the things I work on the most, I would say. Okay. I seen Justin Miller do it, forgot how it was done. I believe he did it with card to shoe download. Okay. I can't do that on my own. It looks so easy. It is. It's not that hard. It just takes a bit of practice. The ambitious move we were talking about. I see Madison type of bottom deal. Yes, I do. I actually had to relearn because I think it's better. Like I had to relearn to hold a deck like this. So now I'm pretty much always holding a deck like this because like I used to deal cards like a regular mechanics grip, but now even if I'm like playing cards with my family and I pick up a deck of cards, I always just hold cards like this now, right? Like I don't ever not hold cards like this, except when it's funny though, when I do a double lift, I still hold it in a regular mechanics grip, but the second I go to deal, I readjust that finger to there. But I also adjusted my second deal to be in that position. So all my dealing, right, happens from that position. Just to give you an example. From where am I plucking? So I assume you're talking about in the second deal. So the second deal, my philosophy is have a nice big brief. A lot of people, they try to do this, try to do these tiny briefs, but there's no point because you don't deal a card regularly like this. You don't go like this. So if you're trying to make it look like your fair deal, then why would you do this? You're going to push over like you would a fair deal. Now you have a lot of room to grab the thumb. So I just grab here, all right, if I'm showing you at the exposed angle. And I'm just moving this thumb back and forth, pivoting around here. And then you just add a little bit of wrist kill movement. So you line up the edge with the eye line and it becomes invisible. But you don't want to do like either this. You don't want to do this like you're conducting. But you also don't want to keep the deck like up here. Like I see a lot of people, they'll necktie the deck the entire time. I think the sweet spot is make it feel like they see the deck the entire time. The only time they don't is for a split second here. But if you watch me do it at speed, it kind of feels like you're seeing the top of the deck the entire time, right? And I think that's how it should feel. Now the seconds are way too good. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Have you ever performed any card by Richard Sanders? I have not. Pinky finger is where he plucks and the ring finger. So actually I pluck, for the bottom deal, I pluck in between the middle and the ring finger. So right in there. It's been out of stock for a while. It's finally in stock. Okay. It's an expert card table. How much do the private lessons cost? Depends on your currency, my friend. In Canadian dollars, they are 100 an hour. In American dollars, that's so probably. I think most people probably can relate to the USD. So it's all on my website, though. If you go check out my website, because I have packages and stuff. If you want to do 3 or 5 lessons, you can save some money that way. I think it's about 70-ish American dollars, but I don't know. It depends on the conversion rate. All my prices are in Canadian for me, so hard to know. Yeah, guys, take private lessons if starting because you don't want to learn something wrong. Yeah, it's so much harder to break a bad habit. You know what I mean? Like I had a couple people who came to me about the cull, and it took us like several lessons just to break their bad habits with the cull because they're like, oh, I'm pretty good at the cull. I just want to learn how to do multiple cards. I'm like, well, with that technique, you're never going to be able to do multiple cards. So we had to break some habits. So the earlier is always better. The timing is the key to getting it back. Do you consider yourself lazy because you're using Erdnase? I myself use that. Self-lazy. I don't use Erdnase, actually. I use the Madison bottom deal. So the Madison, again, I think there's some controversy on if this is actually him who created this, but that's where I learned it from. So the Madison bottom deal is where you're doing the Spock kind of thing. The Erdnase is you're actually curling the fingers, and it was done out of mechanics grip. You curl the fingers and you push up. So that's why you would always get this knuckle flash, right? That's where knuckle flash came from. So Madison's version gets rid of knuckle flash from this side because the fingers are never bending. So there's kind of the Spock bottom deal, there's the Erdnase, which curls and kicks out, and then there's the strike bottom deal, which you don't do any movement of the fingers, you're just striking the bottom card. So someone asked about the lateral palm. So I've always liked to do this with the lateral palm. Color change, right? That's always been one of my go-tos. Maybe that wasn't the best for this camera angle. Let's try to get it more in view. Oh, man. Oh, that was hideous. Let's do that again. Something like that. Oh, the Erdnase grip. Yes, yes, then you're correct. Right, something like that. So basically with that, it's like the Erdnase change, but you're just kind of stripping off one card. And I think it looks better because it's not exactly, it's kind of a lateral palm. Like a lateral palm is generally like this, right, with the thumb in against the side of the hand. And so this camera angle's throwing me off. I just find when I come over top from this angle, it just looks like a much cleaner change than doing something like the Erdnase, personally. I just feel like there's something a little bit, like, I don't know if it's just the angle your hand's coming in. Come on, angle your hand's coming in. It just feels like there's something more magical about that for me. I could say he invented that. I've never seen anyone use that before. Yeah, I haven't either, but, you know, I've heard there's some controversy on that, but I never really looked into it. Just strike the hell out of it, man. Yeah, you could. I mean, if you're talking about the bottom deal. You know, I never really practiced the strike bottom deal, but these are like my strike bottoms. They're not as good as my other ones. I never really practiced it, but... what is your top 5 gambling sleight of hand artists? Yeah, I mean, I'm not I used to be a lot more into gambling sleight of hand, for sure. But I'm not as much into it anymore. Like, that's why my table work was a little rusty earlier. But I can do it all. I just, you know, a little bit more rusty with it. So, gambling sleight of hand, guys. Okay, Madison. Jason England. Let's go Steve Forte. Richard Turner. In no order, by the way. And there's a couple of guys on Instagram. I don't know who they are. Like, I mean, Jeremy Griffith is good, but there's a guy, like, Phantom at the card table, he's called. His stuff's pretty sick. I don't know his name, though. I think he's anonymous. Ben Earl. Yeah, of course, Ben Earl. How could I forget? Yeah. Jason Ledan, of course. How could I forget? There's so many guys. Okay, so new list. Let me try to narrow this down a little bit. Okay, so Richard Turner is definitely on the list. Jason Ledani's definitely on the list. Someone that I forgot. Madison, for me, is on the list just because I learned a lot from him. I'm going to take Jason England off the list just because for me I didn't learn a ton of stuff from him. I know he's very talented, but personally I just didn't learn a ton. So I'm going to put Ben Earl because I did learn a lot from Ben. I want to put Phantom at the card table, but because stuff's just so crazy. But yeah, there's Paul Wilson too. There's so many good ones. Like, all these people are great. You know, maybe a top 10 would be easier, but that's going to be my top 5 if I had to cut it down for me. And a lot of people I like are people I learn from, right? Okay, so if there's anything sleight of hand wise you guys want me to touch on, a couple other things I've been working on. This is just a little stupid thing. Well, it's not stupid, it's kind of cool, but just doing this. So what is that? Well, if I take the card, boom, 7 of spades, put it in the middle, push it in, and it's back on top. So it's not much, but it's literally just dropping your double onto the deck. And I think it just looks really beautiful, right? I know some people will do the whole like flick the card to the deck type thing. I don't do that flourish, but I kind of reminded me of this, and I was like, why not just do that with a double? You know, like, it looks so good, right? You have a card, you say, okay, let's take a look. What do we have? Oh, that was ugly. Let's do it again. So you say, okay, let's take a look. What do we have here? 2 of clubs, and then you can just get your break the same way. Oh, that was 3, but cool, color change. Anyway, let's get this right. So you start. Okay, come on. I'm going to pick a different card. It's the card's fault. It's not me. No, but I think my thought would be start from here, turn it, boom, turn it into the middle, and then it comes to the top. Like, it's just a little, I guess it's a flourishy thing, but I just think it makes the double look so convincing when you can do that. Like, imagine a sequence. I'm going to turn this up a little bit for this. Imagine a sequence like this. There's going to be some moves in here that I'm not going to showcase, but King of Clubs, take it out of the middle, right? Drop it, put it into here, and then if I show it, you can see it's that card there. Push it in, and it's on top. Like, that's so sick. And it used that, I think that little flourish, like there are other things going on there, of course. But I think that little flourish adds, like I'm just rewatching it now. I think that little flourish just adds a little bit of believability to it that I really like. Can you perform your most fooling card trick with the glide? Okay, the glide, that must be what you're talking about. So the glide, I don't know. I don't ever use the glide, if I'm being honest. I've never performed a trick with the glide before. I know you can do like there's that cool one that I've seen where you put like a couple of cards to the side, I think, right? You're saying, is this your card? No. Tell me if you see your card. Is this it? No. You know, something, is this one? And they're like, yes. And then you put it over here, but then their card actually vanishes from here. I know there's that one, but I never do it. I don't even know how to do it. Well, I know kind of the concept, but Ladani ain't good with gambling sleight of hand, at least for me. Okay, so if I throw the question back to you, so if you've seen Ladani's social media videos, like to me, a lot of that is like really well executed gambling sleight of hand, unless you don't think he's using gambling sleight of hand and there's something else going on. So I would ask you how you can say that he's not that good with gambling sleight of hand based on all the videos he does, because it looks very incredible. And I think the only way you could say that is if you think he's doing something else in those videos, some kind of other type of method. Then I would understand if you think that, but if you do, then what do you think he's doing? Anyway, just a interesting question to think about. Ben Earl's red-handed effect on Unreal Card Magic is so good. I have not seen, I've heard of Unreal Card Magic, but I don't own it. Just tell me how to deal with the pain. Oh yes, I saw that. Okay, thanks. For me, Ben, Madison, Jason, Turner, a guy named Arnold MCD. I have not heard of him, but yeah, we basically have the same list besides that last name. Tell me how to deal with the pain of not being able to palm. Every lateral palm, because your hands are skinny and looks weird because they're so tense. Okay, so again, the important thing with a palm is to have the only 2 contact points. The card should basically be floating. Like it can be touching your hand. There we go. But it should basically be floating. Okay? So, right? But it's okay if it goes in a little bit. So that's the first thing. So your hand's very relaxed. Okay? When I get that, like I am not so concerned about like small little flashes in an actual performance, because there's generally not so much heat on it. Like I would rather be a little bit more natural and just have those little, you know, personally, I think it's just easier to kind of be able to get away with. So like I think it's just about, if you're at the table, you know, relaxed, have your hands relaxed, resting on each other, you know. If you're standing, having your hand at your side, that kind of thing, is very helpful. So you said your hands are skinny. Yeah, so you might need to put some meat on your fingers so that I know what you mean. If you're bony and then you have like these windows in here. So yeah, start working out, man. Eat some food. Eat some food, man. I don't know if you're young. If you're young, then, you know, you'll grow into it. But, you know, I wouldn't stress too much. Like, I don't have big hands, but, you know, I can palm fairly well, and it's just come with being comfortable kind of with cards, right? And that's the idea. Let's see if I can. Ooh, a little flash, but that's okay. And then what if I do this? There we go. Sequence, one and done. He just shoots with a perfect angle and hide his bad angles. That's an interesting take. I have not heard that. If you think that's what Jason does, wow, okay, that is an interesting take. You're entitled to that take. So, like, it's a straight on angle. I mean, pretty much everyone filming gambling sleight of hand, are they not filming like straight on in front of them? I haven't followed Jason from the last 2 years, nor have I anybody, but last time he had bad bottom deal and there was huge chaos created. Oh, okay, I didn't hear about that controversy. This guy, every time I go live, have you been working on that top change, big dog? Yeah, man, I'm trying to get it decent. Inside joke, if you know, you know. I still laugh at it. I think it's funny. That was funny. I got a little passionate in that video. Yeah, man. Hopefully I can get there one day. Be as good as you. Oh, see, that's what happens when you're a terrible at the top change like me. If you know, you know. That was a funny video. Do you perform R digit? No idea what that is. What was the other thing I want to talk about? Ooh, so I put out. Let's talk about card to box a little bit. I put out this card to box years ago on the channel. I called it the street card to box because it's something that I used to do in a street magic context, like a card to box without a table, right? So the spectator could be holding on to this. A couple of ways you could do it. One, you show them that you put a card in the box and it's not sort of a mystery card plot, or you can have the card actually be put in the box. Because we're all magicians and I don't want to pretend like you didn't just see me put a card in the box, let's go with the mystery card plot. So if someone can name a card for me, it's going to take too long because you guys are delayed, so forget it. I'll just ask Siri. Hey Siri, can you name a card? Hey Siri, name a playing card. Nope, okay. Hey Siri, name a playing card.
Here's some info about playing card.
Okay, never mind. Someone from the chat, please name a card because Siri is still stupid. It's going to take too long. I was like, oh, it's going to take too long. And now Siri's taking even longer. So anyway, this card to box is, I'm just going to show you the original version, I guess, that I taught on the channel. I think I've made 2 videos. I've taught 2 kind of videos on the topic. Or on the same sort of variation, but I came up with a couple of little touches on it. I think I'm going to make a follow-up video eventually. King of Diamonds, thank you. King of Diamonds. Honestly, you were so close to naming the card that was in here. I was praying that you would name it, and then I could pull off a miracle. It's the King of Spades in there. This close. Anyway, but how the effect would look is, you'd say, okay, I put a card in the box, name a card. They name it, and then you say, look, I want to show you. He said King of Diamonds. There's no King of Diamonds here. There's no King of Diamonds here. You can see there's the King of Hearts. No King of Diamonds. No King of Diamonds here. There's a King of Clubs. No King of Diamonds here. There's Queen of Diamonds. No King of Diamonds here. None here. None here. None here. Right? We can even take a look. I'll even just go really quickly one more time just to be sure you can see. There's absolutely no. Oh, hold on. No King of Diamonds. Right? Ace of Spades. So that's kind of the display that you would do. And then they can be holding on to this box, right? And then you can take the box, you can open it. You can show them that there's a card inside the box. And then you can come in, grab that card from inside the box and show that it is the King of Diamonds. Right? So that was the trick that I basically had taught. And yeah. So it's a great little trick because everything can be done in the hands. I call it street card to box, like I said, because everything is in the hands. A couple variations on that. So basically what's going on there is you have the mystery card in the box. It's very important that the flap, the card goes, the face of the card goes against the side of the box without the flap. And then you want to make sure your box is a little bit broken in. Okay, basically you're going to get so if you're doing this, imagine, I'll show you, if we're doing this now as a card to box rather than a mystery card. So they'll take a card, they'll sign it, that card will get controlled to the bottom of the deck. Then you're going to palm it into a gambler's cop while you hand them the deck. So they're holding the box and the deck. Now you're taking the box and you say, watch. You know, you had a card, you take the box and you open it. You take it from them, you open it, you give them the deck, you take the box, and you show them that without any funny moves, there's a card in the box. Now, obviously, not their card, but you show them that there's a card in the box. You have their card in a gambler's cop, you put the box over top, and then you just, basically, you come here and you reach in, but you're actually just come back and you pull this card out from the front. Looks like you're taking the card out of the box. Now you hand them this card face down. You tell them to hold it in their hands. Don't look at it yet. You recap whatever. Then they turn it over. Now, as they're freaking out, you would do this move where you tip the card back into a gambler's cop and show the box empty. So basically, from this side, again, there's no heat on you here because that's there. So you went in, you pulled out the card, and then the move just looks like that, right? And I'm clean. I can take this card away in a palm, and I'm good. So it was a really cool, unique idea. Like, I used to love doing this card to box back in the day because I love this little last move of showing the box empty when you just had a card in it, because it literally looks like this. And then again, if you can do it so they can even kind of burn your hand like that, and there's really nothing to see. It just takes a bit of practice, essentially. Again, watch the tutorial if you want to learn it. But essentially, you just let the card fall on the pinky, then you kind of let it fall into gambler's cop as you turn the box over. So that was the idea. I've been thinking about this routine in a couple of different ways. One of them, or I've been thinking about just card to box in general. What was, now I'm drawing a blank on what I wanted to show you guys. I had it written down. I know that it was this. So that was the original. Those two were the original ideas. What was the new idea that I just had? I was just thinking about it earlier today. Come on. A few people. Wow, this live seems crazy with a few people on the not sure what you mean. Man, I can't remember. Can't remember what the whole point of this was. So, okay, let's start here. So, an easier way of doing this, some people found that this was difficult, right? The cleanup move, right? Like getting the card out, showing it, right? Some people found that difficult. So I realized, like, to me, the power of this is having the card in the box, okay? Because then you can literally open it at the fingertips and show there's a card in it while their card is actually in a palm. So it's just very clean, right? Another little touch that I've added to it recently is instead of pulling the card out of the cop, you can actually load it onto the bottom of the box. And now you can be open, holding the box like this, and reach in and pull the card out like that, which is another little touch that I think looks really good. And then again, you could just do the cleanup like that, right? So a couple little changes. The other one, there was something, the other one is you could do this without any card in the box, right? Where you just would put their card inside the deck. So King of Diamonds goes inside the middle of the deck, set down, and then I take this and I say, look, inside the box, boom, one card, clean, right? You could do that. Rather than just you talking, 2 to 4 people talking and explaining would be good, won't it, on Discord? No, I like the lives. I like the lives, man. I like the way it's set up. So, yeah. By the way, if you guys have any other things, we'll probably wrap up in what time? How many people we got? We got 10 people. Okay, we still got a good amount, but we'll probably wrap up in the next 10 minutes, 15. Well, it depends. Depends how many questions you guys got. So if you got any questions, keep them coming. But I'm just trying to remember. There was something about the card to box I wanted to discuss. It wasn't that, because I had another idea, and it wasn't that. But I'm now drawing a blank, man. I wish I could remember what that was, because it was... think it might have been... Oh yeah, okay, that's part of it. Okay, so part of it was a different way to clean up. So the different way to clean up was, okay, boom, selection. And you can even shake the box. If you pinch the sides, they can hear there's nothing in it. They'll hear it as empty because you're pinching that card. Then you get your card into your gambler's cop. You grab the box, you open it, you show them, right? Oh. Don't do that. Show them the card in the box, get the flaps nice and open, turn it towards you like we've been doing, pull this out, hand it to them. Then you can grab the deck in this hand, set the box on it, and just grab the deck, and you could clean up that way. So essentially, I think that looks really cool too, where you, right, the card is inside the box, and you just reach in, and you pull it out with the deck, basically sliding it on. That's a cool way to clean up. I've been thinking about a ton of card to box ideas lately, you know. Like you could see empty box, and if you had them put their card there, and then they could put their hand on it, whatever it was, like, well, you know, whatever card it happens to be, but then you could actually have another card loaded in that. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'll be having some videos on card to box soon, because I've been thinking about a ton of ideas with that lately. Bro, I just missed the lockdowns where servers are active. Yeah, man, I get it. I do group lessons from time to time where it's kind of like a jam on Zoom. But maybe down the line. Our digit is coins across with numbers from the spectator's calculator. Oh yeah, I've seen that effect. I don't do it, but I've seen it. Do you like the overhand shuffle control? So, like a stock control, like a in-jog, or which one do you mean? Not sure. Okay, I am pretty much good on stuff to talk about, so if you guys got anything else, please let me know. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. This was a great live. Busy. It's always good. I like the new camera setup though. I prefer the front, kind of the front angle like this. Let me show you, no, not gonna show that actually. Can you please perform ace cutting? Ace cutting, like, okay, yeah, I'll show you. Like, I usually just freestyle it. I don't really have a good way of, or a sequence that I'm used to. So I usually would just cut to the aces. So here's what I'll often do. I'll just shuffle. What I like to do to practice, right, is I'll shuffle the deck a bunch, you know, and at a certain point when I am ready, when I feel like I've shuffled the deck a bunch, you know, then I'll just kind of get into it and just kind of see what card I end up on. So let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so there we go, ace. Okay, so we'll cut to the aces then. I was gonna do a random one, but there we go. So I usually, what I'll do, I'll flip over the top card and then I'll cut to whatever those cards are. So let's see. So for the first one, let's see if I just come down and cut. There we go. It's first ace. Psych. Let's see. Next ace. Right there. And for the last one, I always like to finish with the last one sort of in the hands, you know? Just because I think there's something nice about in the hands. So let's see if I can nail this. If I just run my pinky to where I think I've tracked that ace to, there we go. I can get it to shoot out of the deck. 4 aces for you, my friend. Why are those cards so crispy, man? What's the temperature? These are just well broken in. This has been my like broken in deck of choice. Temperature is good here. Outside it's maybe, what are we? 16 degrees Celsius. So it's a pretty nice day up here in Canada, and humidity's good. So I think that's definitely helping. How do you go about what your pricing range or what you should price for your gigs? I would take a look at Jamie D. Grant, right? Let me see if I have that article. It's a little dated now, but it's a good place to start. Honestly, my advice is to charge what you're worth. You know, so you set your price. Think about what. Let's see, I'm just trying to find that article for you. There we go. So let me see if I can put this in the chat. So Jamie D. Grant, he just had like a whole concept about pricing, and I think it's generally good. Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat. Just a little article that would be worth a read. There you go. Check out that. Anyway, oh, I just realized you guys have been staring at my hands on my phone. Sorry. Anyway, do I jam every Sunday? No, I usually do these lives on Saturdays, but it didn't work for me this week. And so I usually do one live a month, and my videos come out every Sunday. So pricing though, I would say price what you're worth. So figure out how much it's going to cost you in traveling, pick an hourly, in traveling, in risk and all these things, and then double it, and then bake in a profit margin, and then you want to factor in time practicing, right? And that's kind of where the doubling comes in. And then if you feel like, do you feel good about that number? Like if you had to take an hour out of your life, maybe you're performing an hour gig, but it's 2 hours, 2 hours with the traveling and everything. Is it worth, what's that worth to you? Would you do that for $50? I wouldn't. Would you do it for $100? I wouldn't. But maybe, but it depends on your like where you start. So you gotta see what you're okay with too. That's a factor. And then of course, if you're not getting any gigs at that price, I mean, there's a lot of other things you can do to improve that. Maybe you need more social proof. Maybe you need a better website. Whatever it is. But if you've done a lot of that and then you're still not getting bookings, well, then maybe your price is too high. But generally, I don't know that there's, like, of course there is too high, but generally, like, if you're reasonable, there's not too high of a price. Like, and I would say stick to your guns for the most part. You're worth what you're worth. 3 Budweisers and a 10. Hey, that gets it done for you, man. You're good to go. Yeah. Okay, I'll give another 5 minutes. If anyone has any last questions, then we can answer those, and then I'll probably call it. This was a good live. Stay tuned for the 10K subs giveaway. I'm going to be, or competition, I should say. I'm going to be announcing that hopefully in a couple of weeks once I sort it all out. I've just been so busy. And stay tuned for the live lecture. My wizard tier of my membership will be getting my live lecture soon. There's a ton of really good material in there. So stay tuned for that. I don't think there's been any magic beef or magic drama for me to talk about lately. I like to address magic drama sometimes on the lives because I don't like to talk about it normally. But I guess, Craig Petty and what's his name there did a interview together or whatever, the Unbiased buddy. I don't know, man. maybe I just need to stop holding grudges, but like, it's not like I don't agree with the way certain things were handled in that situation, but at a certain point, like, you're gonna put in all the effort and all the time and all the things that were said, all the rude things in the comments, like, to just kind of get over it. Like, you know what, I'm glad things were resolved, but it's kind of like, I don't know, probably couldn't be me. There's a reason why me and someone who, you know, haven't done videos or used to do videos don't do them anymore, and I still haven't. Because, like, I just have, you know, I'm the type of person, I'll give you a chance right away, but if you do something once, like, I don't need, it's very unlikely that I need what you have to offer badly enough that if you know, if I find out you're a liar or a coward or something, like something that I really value as like a core characteristic, why would I have no need to give you a second chance. It's not that important, you know? So anyway, I don't know. I was just like, really, like, you guys can, I'm glad they're going to stop fighting, hopefully. But, like, that's great. I'm all about the positivity, man. But, I don't know. The whole, like, we're buddy-buddy now, it's kind of just, like, really, like, I don't know. That's my opinion, but hey. Everyone's different. Okay, man. Man, like I'm talking to one person. Hey, I like it that way. Okay, guys. Well, this was a great live. Don't know when the next one will be. I got some big stuff coming up, but we'll target for mid-June. We'll try to do one more. Probably be the last one in this location, which is exciting. But yeah, so I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. For us in Canada here, it is a long weekend, which is awesome. I'm not sure if it is in the US as well and some other places. Not sure, but it is for us, so I'm going to enjoy the long weekend, day off tomorrow. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed the live, and I will catch you guys next time.